In the first 5 chapters of Master Arcanist, we follow Volke Savan's thrilling journey as he navigates the complex world of magic and mythical creatures. From confronting the aftermath of stolen magical artifacts and awakening new beasts to unraveling the mysteries of the Fenris Wolf's lair, Volke faces a multitude of challenges. Alongside his friends and allies, he strives to restore order, find his lost companion Luther, and test theories that could change their world. As tension builds and the dire wolves close in, Volke's resolve and leadership are put to the test.
Welcome back to the Frith Guild podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm co-host, Scott.
And today we're going to chapters 1 through 5 of Master Arcanist. We are in book 7 of Shami's Frith Chronicles series, and we're just plugging along. This is so exciting. This is where it's just nonstop to the end, basically. To the end of the last book is just nonstop. So there are going to be a little bit of a break in things, but not very much. Before we get started, we do want to thank everybody for listening. Please, if you can comment, share, subscribe, whatever it is you can do for us. And then we also want to remind you that the Frith Chronicles Wiki link is in the description below, along with the Capital Station Discord server and the Arc Dragons Discord server as well. For those indie authors that are trying to get their works out there, if you have any interest in signing up for advanced reader copies, then I would suggest you to go over there and take a look, see what you got. They have literally every kind of genre possible. With that, we're going to get into chapter 1.
Priorities. Volke is assessing his situation, and as of right now, Second Ascension stole the Soul Forge corpse to make trinkets. Vedika, who was their one shot at actually curing the plane, is probably been taken. She's at least missing. Unknown number of deadly creatures have been brought back to life and are just being herded by Second Ascension to who knows where. Arthur has come back to life. That is Adelgis's sister's old Eldred. He understands that his trial of worth was completed, but he doesn't know by who. And this is very similar to the verbiage we hear from the Griffin Cub of no, my trial was completed. Yes, it was. Eviana is trying to help him put his life back together. He realizes Luther has probably come back to life, but in the same vein as Arthur, probably doesn't know who his Arcanist was. He just knows that his trial of worth was completed. Ilya's freaking out because Zaxxas has the plague again and now can't be cured because Vedika's gone. Terracotta does bring in a little bit of hope and says hey, his lair was filled with this really powerful magic similar to true form magic. And Volke's line of thinking is essentially, true forms can't get the plague. Maybe there's something we can do with this. So not sure if it's a way to actually cure Zaxxas and Odion, but it's the best hope as of right now.
To say, let's imagine how scary that is, that somebody could be bonded to a true form nightmare. Fully grown true form nightmare.
Yeah, anyone too.
Oh yeah, I did it. And with chapter 2, Lair of the Fenris Wolf, not to be confused with chapter 4, The Lair of the Fenris Wolf, going into some Fast and Furious movie names here. Adele just makes it very well known that he is sorry about not thinking the plans through thoroughly enough about how Thesan had planned things out. Volke tries to relax him with several other Arcanists being around. And Volke also mentions that he's able to track down both creatures with the occult compass, so we have some kind of hope in finding Luther and maybe possibly these other mystical creatures that were kind of couldn't be abducted because it's not like they knew they weren't supposed to be with them.
Yeah, it's a very strange, it's a gray area.
Then we need to start focusing on the closest alligator to the boat, and we need Adele just to worry about Luther after the Fenris Wolf. They're also supposed to spawn an order of, World Serpent, Fenris Wolf, or World Serpent, Soul Forge, so on and so forth. I'm curious that how they were able to spawn quote unquote out of order or bond out of order.
My thought is that because it's referred to that Fenris Wolf and Sky Titan have spawned, not that they have bonded. So my guess is the world serpent spawned first, but they got to the Soul Forge quicker than they were able to get to the world serpent. So even though the Soul Forge technically spawned after the world serpent, it bonded sooner. So it seems like the spawning is like, as of right now, somebody could bond with Sky Titan and with the Fenris Wolf, whereas they probably can't bond with the Abyssal Kraken.
Okay, I guess that would make more sense, especially with Thesan being able to bond the Soul Forge first. Imagine if it was like early enough in the turning of the age where it was just the World Serpent that they couldn't find the lair because there was no lair yet.
That's my guess as well. Like the lair hasn't formed yet.
Shami, if you want to let us know, Volk has an idea that he wants to test a theory that if someone is infected with the plague, and if they go into the god's lair, that they will be cured from the plague. Because their lairs are made of pure magic, and that's basically what true form is having the closest to true magic or pure magic. And then there's this grand debate about who should bond with the other creatures. We have 6 runestones. We still have 5 mystical creatures or god arcanists that we need to bond. And you know whose name I was really shocked did not come straight to the top of that list? Schoolmaster Tim's. Just saying.
He seems like he'd have, look out for the little guy.
Yeah, to eat crow and everything. They did mention obviously Gravekeeper William. They're like, why did we bring him with us? Like, well, it was hindsight's 2020. We have to move on.
Yes, it's tough trying to think through like who isn't bonded that would be a good candidate to actually bond with a god creature. Big decision there. That does bring us to chapter 3, a team of 6. Volk has a discussion with Eventide. They're talking about kind of the next steps and where they should go. Volk thinks to himself that he wants more Eventide stories. Yeah, join the club, we all do. Like, she's just kind of a bad bitch. Like, I want to know what she does. They're going to go to the lair of the Fenris Wolf. Zelfrey is staying behind to watch Callisto. Eviana and Devlin are chosen because of their magic. Could be very handy based on what we've seen in the World Serpent lair. They are making their way. Ilya, Zaxus, King Radian are all going. Eviana and Ilya are getting down from Turkana and do these nice little flourishes. Eviana lands in a pool of shadow. Ilya teleports down. Devlin calls them youngins, which I just think is funny. They're sitting there like, yeah, whatever, boomer. Zaxus is pretty depressed with Forsyth being infected. And the one thing to keep in mind, he had the plague earlier, but it causes madness in creatures a lot quicker than it does in humans, so they don't have as much time to figure out a solution as they did when it was just Zaxus that was infected.
We only knew how to get a true form. What the hell, Addy?
Come on.
Gosh. Moving into chapter 4, the lair of the Fenris Wolf. We get to the lair and Volk immediately tries to shift the earth that the Fenris Wolf's lair is in, and he finds out that he cannot. Basically, it's not earth, it's basically pure magic. Adele just hangs back and decides that he's going to be the organizer rather than the fighter, and that he's still not feeling basically to where he should be or what he should have been because of the effects of the Abyssal Leech being removed from his body. Thanks, Thesan. Yeah, the last time they were in Thornhold.
Wild.
And I mean, we're not going to use any more pink sand because we don't want to kill another Kepra. Volk asks if Terracotta can keep an eye out on Mesos and Hasdrubal, and Terracotta makes this sly comment about how snakes like to eat birds and lizards. Volk's like, well, wait a minute. How do you eat things or what? Terracotta says that he kind of like steals magic from the world, and he's purely sustained by it, and mentions that that's one of the reasons why the Apoc Dragon comes is because he steals magic from the world. But I do love that. Like, I guess I'll watch over them.
They are food. Mesos is friend, not food.
Fish are friend, not food. Volk gets his gold thread for killing the Soul Forge on his friendship bracelet from Odeon, and Eviana runs around to give everybody her augmentation of being able to see in the dark. And I love that she always gives Volk a kiss in order to pass along this augmentation. Not necessary, but I love it. We get into the Fenris Wolf's lair, and there's lots and lots of ice, and Wraith would have probably had an absolute blast here. Like, he's that husky that gets snow, like lives in the south of US where it's hot all the time and it snows once, and he's laying outside like this is my jam. Volk can kind of sense through the floor that there are wolves coming.
Which brings us to Chapter 5, Dire Wolves. Zaxxas and Devlin are quarreling. Volk eventually just kind of tells them to shut up. They do encounter a pit trap. Eviana is able to save Volk. Orion falls into it and gets cut. He's like, I forgot I could shadow step. Like, it's only one of the main things you can do. Probably shouldn't forget about that. But luckily, since Forsyth is also infected, he can be healed without risking infecting someone else. And they do use the fire heal that Addie invented, so it's cool to see like another application of the evocation augmentation together.
He kind of freaks out about this too. He's like, what magic is this?
They walk into a forest. They're underground, but there is a fake sky above them. And Volk again senses the wolves are coming. He realizes there are 12 direwolves coming. They're the size of a horse. That is a large wolf. That is a big pupper.
Like draft horse, I think they say.
Yeah. Yes, that would hurt. And what we know about these wolves is essentially they try and focus and pick off the weakest member of the group to slowly whittle away the group. So the plan is for Ilya to go and essentially be a distraction for the wolves, teleport around. She has the best chance of avoiding them, and then hopefully that way they can kind of hunt the wolves down. They do realize very quickly, though, that the wolves howl hallucinations, which is just so cool.
Mind you, Volk standing there with his ears in his fingers in his ears, knowing that they cause hallucinations, but doesn't tell anybody else. He forgets to mention it to anybody else.
Just assumes everyone knows.
And with that, I guess ends the first 5 chapters of Master Arcanist. Again, first few chapters here are going to be a little bit slow, but I promise things will just start ramping up as we get along here. So definitely excited to get into Master Arcanist. Definitely excited to see some new places, some new creatures. We don't really have any new creatures other than the direwolves, but all we really know about them is the howling hallucinations and that they're the size of draft horses and you just don't want to mess with them. So a whole lot of nope for me. But with that, though, we are going to end this section. And next week we'll be getting into chapters 6 through 10. Scott, do you have anything else you'd like to add today?
I'm excited. We get our next god creature.
Yes, it bursts. And for those that are interested in Casey Ezel's Shadow Card Guardian, it should be releasing anytime now. At the time of recording this, we don't have an exact date, but we will be keeping an eye out. And as soon as it is, we will be posting that it has been released. And we should also have, well, with that, we'll catch you guys next week.